right now, but it's time to kick it off around the league. We'll see at halftime. Jack Youngblood will be here, and don't forget our tennis right after the NFL on CBS.
For the St. Louis Cardinals and Coach Jim Hannafin, the 1984 season ended too soon. Remember Neil O'Donoghue's missed 50-yard field goal with time running out against Washington? A win would have given the Cardinals the NFC East title. Instead, they finished out of the playoffs. It's 1 year later, and running back Otis Anderson will help lead a hungry team that is striving for a playoff berth. Enthusiastic young quarterback Neil Lomax is emerging as one of the NFL's finest, and 85 should be his best year. His favorite target, Roy Green, the league's most dangerous deep threat. And Cardinal fans hope that the Lomax to Green combination can bring a championship to St. Louis. A championship was exactly what Cleveland fans got when rookie Otto Graham led the Browns to the All-America Conference title in 1946. Now, 39 years later, Cleveland has another rookie quarterback, Bernie Kosar, a local boy who always wanted to play for the Browns. But the season opens today, and veteran Gary Danielson will start at quarterback. He'll be looking for Ozzie Newsome, the AFC's leading receiver in '84. Last year, the Browns led the AFC in total defense, but they'll have their hands full today. The Cardinals and the Browns kick off the season on CBS.
CBS Sports presents the National Football League. Today, the St. Louis Cardinals against the Cleveland Browns.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're on the lakefront at the venerable Municipal Stadium, and a crowd of 65,000 plus will watch the action. And it should be a great game. It is hot, hot, hot to the point where fans have been placed along the sideline. 84 degrees and a high of 90 has been forecast. It'll be a good game with the Cardinals and the Browns for us and for you. Hank Stram was at practice yesterday and has some impressions about both of these teams.
Jack, number one, the St. Louis Cardinals are a very poor grass football team. They have only won 3 out of 10 in the last 5 years. On the other hand, they're a very poor starting team in that they've only won 4 out of 15 in the last 5 years, so they want to get off to a good start. Some observations about both teams, talking to the Cleveland Browns out of practice and their coaches and players. You come away with the idea that they're very confident, they're very poised, they're very loose, and they're realistic about their goal here this afternoon. On the other hand, the St. Louis Cardinals, watching them practice yesterday, they too appear to be very confident, possibly overconfident, and you get the feeling there's a little feeling of nonchalance. We'll find out in just a moment.
All right, Hank, there's Neil O'Donoghue. He'll kick off. The Browns have won the toss, and their deep man is Glenn Young. He is back standing at the goal line. O'Donoghue doesn't usually kick it into the end zone. And the referee is Jerry Seaman, and he'll turn him loose right now. Nice warm day. That grass, by the way, on this field is quite high to the point where O'Donoghue and the punter Birdsong practiced during the week on a grass field at Washington University in St. Louis. Here we go. We hope you enjoy the game and the season. And Young will take it from the 5-yard line. 10-15, and did not get to the 20-yard line. And lo and behold, we have flags on the very first play of the game. Downfield for the Cardinals. Nico Noga with the first tackle of the day. And an injured player on the very first play of the game. And a penalty coming up against the Browns. Hank, that's what Cleveland does not need. They don't need injuries. They don't need to get behind. They're a young team on offense that wants to get out in front and gain a little confidence.
Yeah, the one thing they want to do, they want to hopefully play on a shorter field than the St. Louis Cardinals, and they defeat that purpose right off the bat because of a penalty, and now they have to go a long way to get 3 points or 7 points on the board. And incidentally, Jack, 90% of the time the team that kicks off usually scores first.
And we have the lineups for the Browns after the penalty assessed against Curtis Weathers. Gary Danielson, the quarterback. Ernest Piner and Kevin Mack, their running backs. Willis Adams and Fred Banks are the wide receiver. Up front, it's a rather new offensive line with Paul Farron, George Ilja, Mike Babb, Dan Fike, Cody Risen, who missed last year, back in action, and Ozzie Newsome, the tight end. And it is going to be first down and 10 from the 9-yard line. Glenn Young, who took the kickoff and was hit by Noga, comes off the field. Well, the ball is at the Cleveland 10. I knew that early on this year, talking with Hank Stram before the preseason even started, that Gary Danielson would be their starting quarterback.
We talked about it a long time ago, and Ison City felt in the final analysis that probably Danielson would be the quarterback he is, and they like him very much. He's a very resourceful guy and has really done a super job every place he's been.
It is Biner in the backfield, and a pass play coming up on first down, and it is caught out for a 5-yard gain. Kevin Mack swung out of the backfield. And the lineup for the Cardinals on defense. They're one of the few teams these days that plays the 4-man front with Bubba Baker, Mark Duda, David Galloway, and Curtis Greer up front. Their linebackers are Thomas Howard, E.J. Jr. in the middle, the weak side linebacker Freddie Joe Nunn, and Lionel Washington, Wayne Smith on the corners. Leonard Smith, the strong safety, and Benny Perrin is out of the lineup, and the rookie Lonnie Young is playing. 2 tight ends, Harry Holt and Ozzie Newsome, 2nd down and 5 from the 15. Mack is the lone setback. And a give to Kevin Mack, and sliding on the dirt part of the field. He's good for only a yard. That'll make it 3rd down and 4. And Lonnie Young, the rookie out of Michigan State, the free safety, came up on a very strong force. 3rd down and 4 for the Browns.
Well, they like him very much. He has good range. He was a number 12 draft choice. And that time he read the play beautifully and came in from his weak safety position to make the tackle.
You see that Kevin Mack played with the Los Angeles Express. That makes him a rookie in the National Football League. He's out of Clemson, a 6-footer, 212. And let's see what the Browns do on 3rd down and see if they can get the first down. Willis Adams comes wide to the right. Ernest Biner is the running back. Danielson out of the shotgun. And a bad snap and a fumble inside the 15-yard line. And it belongs to Danielson. He got it back. Cleveland almost lost the ball, and they're going to have to punt. Looked like David Galloway came very close to picking that one up. So Jeff Gossett comes into the game as Danielson never did get the snap out of the shotgun formation.
We're going to watch a great punter here, Jeff Gossett. Watch how quickly he gets. He's a 2-step kicker.
He drives Stump Mitchell way back. It's over his head, and it's out of bounds inside the 25. Well, you called it, Hank. You talk about a great kicker. He really thumped that one.
Well, the other thing, you talk about a thunderfoot. He's a 2-step kicker, which is very rare today. He gets the ball off once it gets in his hands, Jack, in about 1.1 second, which is incredible. Incredibly fast. He's only had 1 kick blocked in all the time he's been a punter, but he's one of the great kickers, I think, in the National Football League.
63 yards to the Cardinal 22. Neil Lomax, Otis Anderson, Earl Farrell in the backfield, Roy Green, Pat Tilley, the wide receivers. Up front, Louise Sharp, Doug Dawson, Randy Clark, Joe Bostic, Tony Robbins, and the tight end, Doug Marsh. Boy, that really should lift the defense. It was good enough going in. Lomax under center from the 22. What a kick by Gossett. 63 yards. 2 tight ends, Marsh and LaFleur. And Otis Anderson in the backfield. And he comes out to the 25. He got 3. He ran into Carl Hairston, number 78. He used to play with the Eagles. Cleveland uses a 3-man front with Reggie Kemp, Bob Golick, and Carl Hairston. Their linebackers, one better than the other. Chip Banks, Eddie Johnson, Tom Cousineau, and Clay Matthews. And their backfield on the corners, Frank Minifield, Hanford Dixon, Al Gross, and Don Rogers are the safety men, and it's 2nd down and 7 for Cleveland. Still 2 tight ends with Roy Green off to the right. Farrell, the fullback, on a wing. Anderson in the backfield, Farrell in motion. And a Lomax to Anderson in a misdirection. He gets outside, comes to the 30. It's going to be about 3rd and 1. As he went out of bounds at the 31. Frank Minifield came up and forced it. Minifield, 180 pounds, a little fella comparatively, number 31.
You know, I talked to Otis Anderson before the game on the field, and I asked him specifically, would you rather run on grass or synthetic turf? No question, I'd much rather run on synthetic turf. I asked Stump Mitchell the same question, and he too emphatically said he'd much rather run on synthetic turf, but they're running on grass today.
We talked about those good linebackers of Cleveland. The Browns have to toughen up front. It is 3rd down and 1. They really stacked the line. And they give to O.J., and he gets a first down. O.J. Anderson out to about the 33 or 4-yard line, and that's the first down of the day. And Eddie Johnson, inside linebacker, and Chip Banks, number 56, made the tackle. We have a couple of scores for you of other games here on the first day of the National Football League. The Giants are out ahead. Manuel caught a touchdown pass from Sims. They lead the Eagles 7-0 first quarter.
And they won all 6 of all 4 preseason games. Here's another one, San Francisco.
And the Champs are out in front on a 2-yard run by Roger Craig, and they lead Minnesota. First down, St. Louis from their 35. First pass by Lomax, and caught by the tight end Marsh for a 5-yard gain. Doug Marsh, number 80, caught it. Tackled by Tom Cousineau. Jim Hannafin spoke in glowing terms of these Cleveland linebackers, didn't he, Hank? But that's not unusual.
No, that's justifiably so, because I think everybody in the league agrees that these linebackers are as good as they come. Clay Matthews on the right linebacker, 57, is an amazing player. He's not overly large. He's not very big until he hits you.
Pat Tilley is to the left. Cedric Mack is in as a wide receiver, and Rory Green in the slot on 2nd down and 5. Lomax to O.J., and a very good block by Dawson, but then O.J. was driven back, no gain, and Eddie Johnson, reputed to be the fastest of their linebackers, made the hit on Anderson.
And he said yesterday, talking to him, he said, "Please, Coach, don't call me the other linebacker. My name is Eddie Johnson." And here we see him, number 51, watching with the flow of the play. He doesn't over-pursue, which is very important. Gets into the hole with square shoulders and is able to make the tackle. That's one thing that they're very, very concerned about, is not over-pursuing, because Anderson is such a great cutback runner. There was a great illustration of that situation right there with Eddie Johnson.
And they put in the extra back for Cleveland, and out of the shotgun. 3rd down and 5 for Lomax and company. Steps up and runs, and down he goes. He was caught from behind by Reggie Camp. Reggie Camp made the tackle. Otherwise, Lomax would have had a first down, but St. Louis has to punt.
He was not decisive enough that time, Jack. I thought if it had taken off right away, he might have been able to get away from the defensive right end, but he hesitated just long enough where he did get caught from the backside.
Weathers goes back as the deep man. And the first punt from Birdsong. You can see his very good kicking average last year. A little better the year before, actually. The snap will come from Carlos Scott. And Cleveland apparently came offside. It still will not be enough for a first down, however.
Don Rogers, number 20, trying to anticipate the cadence and
number 20
and trying to get jump on the ball was premature.
Why did he do that?
He didn't know what the count was, I guess. They should tell him before they snap the ball what it's going to be, so he can time that better.
AFC Rookie of the Year, 1984, Don Rogers. He's a pupper. Ball's at the 42.
And is he big and strong? He looks like a linebacker. I was amazed to watch him and look at him yesterday out of practice.
Weathers back to get the punt inside his 20. E.J. Jr. back there is the blocking fullback, and the punt by Birdsong. Oh, we've had 2 good punts here today, and Weathers takes it on the 9, 10, 15, 20. He's out to the 25. The Browns will go from there. And the tackle by Freddie Joe Nunn, the newcomer to the Cardinals. So Cleveland gets the ball for the 2nd time, and that was a 49-yard punt. Not quite as good as Gossett, but a good one nonetheless. Browns take over for the 2nd time. They're at their own 25. Told Art Modell, the owner of the Browns, "Give me 3 years and I'll have you the best defense in the league." He was second only to the Bears last year.
He feels very good about his team, and he just hopes now that he can have the offense catch up with the defense, and he does that. He's going to be in good shape.
is the fullback, and Finer the tailback. Danielson, the quarterback from the 25. Here comes Finer, and there he goes. He is spun down for a loss by David Galloway, who had very good penetration, number 65. We have 3 scores of other games. Atlanta, Gerald Riggs on a 7-yard run. They lead Detroit 7-0 the first quarter. And Tony Collins with a touchdown puts the Patriots in front of Green Bay. Yet another. Seattle on a pass from Dave Craig to Byron Walker. What's new? Nothing. Huh?
Nothing. Same old song.
Same old song, same old players. 2nd down and 11 for Cleveland. Danielson to throw. This time over the middle and broken up and a flag. Wayne Smith is called on interference. They're a lot more liberal this year with those interference calls, but you cannot go through a man, and that's what he tried to do.
I think possibly he tried to knock it down with his left hand and might have had his right hand on his back. We have to take a look at that and see if that was what happened, but that's usually the case, Jack.
Yeah.
Trying to go for the ball and he get the other hand on the back.
Now, Wayne Smith used to be with Danielson at Detroit. By the way, Tom Bettis, who was the defensive coordinator.
Illegal contact, number 44, defense, first down.
Tom Bettis was with Cleveland, is with Cleveland now. He was with Hannafin last year.
And talking to Tom about Wayne Smith, here's a good picture of it. Here's a replay. Oh, you see, you can't see his right hand, but look at it. It's on his shoulder pad. That's what happened. He hit him in the back with the right hand, and that's why they call pass interference. A good call by the official.
First down at the 30-yard line. For the Browns, 2nd possession of the game for them. Back. And a big pile-driving run out across the 35. He averaged more than 5 yards per carry in the preseason. Tackled by Lonnie Young. Freddie Joe Nunn, the #1 draft pick of the Cardinals out of Mississippi, was also in on the title. 2nd and 4, and that's the kind of call you like to make, Hank. 2nd and 4.
Well, that's when it's fun to be the quarterback, and I think going into the game plan for the Cleveland Browns basically was to run the ball as much as they possibly could, to establish play-action passes, and stay out of long yardage situations, and that's their plan, and so far they're doing a pretty good job with it.
Adams in motion. Look out, and a blitz coming with Leonard Smith. A strong safety on a blitz, and he did not miss, did he?
That's the thing about a play-action pass, Jack. While you're faking, you don't get a chance to see the blitzers. Danielson did not see Smith at all. From the left of your screen, watch him come in here. See, he has no idea where he's coming from because he's involved in a fake, and that's what happens with play-action fakes. Play-action fakes are good if the team is reading, but if they're blitzing, it's not a good call.
They're back to 3rd and 10 at their 30-yard line with Adams, the wide receiver, to the right. Off to the left side is Fred Banks, the rookie. 3rd and 10 out of the shotgun. Gets a good snap this time. No pressure. And the pass caught and dropped. Incomplete. And the Browns will have to punt, and that ball would not have been enough for a first down anyhow. And I know you don't like that, Hank.
Yeah, that's always the amazing thing to me is that they know they have to make 9 yards for a first down, and then they throw the ball to a receiver who is about 6 yards down the field. I can't understand that logic. You would think that they'd send everybody down at least 12 yards and then have to give them about 3 yards leeway and then come back for the ball if they have to, but make sure if they're going to catch the ball and pass block and throw it, that it's going to be enough for the first down.
7 minutes left in the first quarter, no scores. 2nd punt by Jeff Gossett. I know he's not going to kick one better than his first. Stump Mitchell is the kicker, is the kick return man. And he takes it on the 28. He's tough. He is tough. Oh, brother. And he kept his feet. He's out to the 40 as it is. He would have gone a good deal further. There are no flags, and the Browns give it up. St. Louis gets it for the 2nd time. Don Rogers was the tackler. Well, I'm wrong. There is a flag. There is a flag. A penalty against the Browns. And let's see what St. Louis decides. They can either take over on the 40 after declining the penalty.
With that kind of a kicker, I would just think they'd decline the penalty, Jack, and take the ball on about the 40-yard line. This guy's allowed to kick one right out of the end, right close to the end zone.
Downfield, number 80, offense, penalty decline, first down.
For the Browns, Willis Adams was downfield. There's Jim Hannafin, the head coach of the Cardinals, in his 6th year now. No score, first quarter. defense earned quite a fine reputation last year, and they started calling themselves the Dogs, and they do it in classy style, don't they? And the fans have picked up on it. They throw dog bones and everything else down on the field. They're an enthusiastic group, Hank, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they really are. And Dixon, he's the one who started the thing, and he told the defensive line, listen, if we're going to win, you guys have to play like dogs, and they all started to bark, and that's how it all got started.
Fake to Anderson. Pass to Farrell. And he dives across the 45 out to the 48. Very close to a first down. I don't know much about Earl Farrell. He's in his 5th year now out of East Tennessee State. 6-footer, 224. That's a lot of weight on that frame.
Yeah, you know, but in college at East Tennessee State, he averaged 5.3.
Roy Green is down. Look at there. What's that all about? What's that all about? Pat Tilley and others come out. Let's watch and see what he did. He was going deep as Farrell caught the short pass. They got their legs all tangled up, and down he went.
Yeah,
he was being covered by Minifield.
Yeah, I think he just hit Minifield as he was running behind him, and they got their feet tangled up, and he went down.
The Cardinals can't afford. He's limping perceptibly as he comes off, and St. Louis can't afford to lose him, can they? A lot of times the coaches don't even come around when a player is injured, but when Green gets hurt, the coach comes around, doesn't he?
Yeah, he gets their attention in a big hurry. He might have just got kicked in the shins. Hopefully, maybe that's what it is. But it's hard to tell.
Okay, it's a first down for St. Louis at their 48-yard line. Cedric Mack is in as a wide receiver, taking Green's spot. Tilley is to the right. Here comes Farrell, the fullback. Pretty good block by O.J. Anderson, and a run good for about 3 before Tom Cousineau made another tackle. You know, Cousineau's out of Ohio State and a real favorite here.
That's an unusual play, Jack, only because in most cases why the fullback is going to lead the halfback into the designated area. That time the halfback led the fullback, and they did a pretty good job and made some yardage on the play. But Earl Farrell was the ball carrier, and usually he's the blocker.
We get a word on Roy Green. He was kicked in the right foot, and they expect him to come back. The ball's at the Browns' 49. Second down and 7. 2 tight ends, Marsh and LaFleur. Back in motion. Anderson on a bit of a delay, breaks outside, and very close to a first down near the Browns' 42, and another tackle by Cousineau.
Cousineau is a great linebacker from side to side. He patrols the interior of the field extremely well. He's very hard to fool, and that's why they're using some counter plays. There's a play right up the middle, and there you see Cousineau in the hole, and he's got enough speed to catch him from the backside and make the play. Tom Cousineau, number 50.
But it is a first down for St. Louis. We have 5 minutes left in the first quarter, no score. Roy Green is back into the game, and he comes left, number 81. Tilley to the right, high formation with Anderson. Anderson and a big hit by Chip Banks. Banks, the linebacker, really penetrated. He had him in his sights, didn't he?
He really did, and he's big enough. He looks like the heavyweight champion of the world. You look at him in a pair of shorts. He's really put together. Here's the play. And watch Chip Banks get penetration on the inside and makes the tackle on Otis Anderson in the backfield. And usually it's very difficult for one guy to knock Otis Anderson down. He did it, but he's got good size. And we asked him whether he'd like to play defensive end instead of linebacker, and he said he'd play any place he has to play to help his football team. It is very obvious he prefers the linebacker position.
Second down and 10. Lomax. And incomplete to Green. Green had all kinds of company downfield, including the linebacker, Eddie Johnson, and Don Rogers. The linebacker did a very good job of staying with Roy Green, and it's third down.
He really did. He was back there about 15, 20 yards, and that's very difficult for a linebacker. There you see him come up there in front and reach and try to knock the ball down. The ball was thrown a little bit too high. Don Rogers was also involved in the play, and there was very good coverage on that last pass pattern.
Felix Wright checks into the backfield along with Larry Brazil for the Browns on 3rd and 10. Tilley right, back left, Green to the left in the slot out of the shotgun. They like to throw to Mitchell, too. Third down. Flag is down. And intercepted. Don't forget, there's a flag down. Racing back inside the Cardinal 40. And with the ball is Brazil down to the 12. Now let's check the flag. They're going to call it back, I think. It was Chris Rockins is the one who intercepted. Made a great return, but apparently Cleveland was offside.
96, I think, was offside. Reggie Camp.
Right.
I think he was offside on the play.
And Rockins, out of Oklahoma State, ran it back to the St. Louis 20, but they call it back. And that'll make it 3rd and 5. Bad break for the Browns.
Chip Banks, number 56, was blitzing on the play. Was not able to make penetration.
Offside, number 96. Defense, still 3rd down.
Reggie Camp was the culprit.
You know, they were concerned about Camp. They were afraid maybe he was not going to be able to play. He had his foot stepped on, and they were very concerned. But he recovered nicely during the course of the week, and he, of course, started the game and is playing very well.
And we see the Giants padding their lead. It's still in the first quarter, 14-0 over the Eagles. And Tampa Bay and the Bears are tied in the first quarter.
Well,
we have a St. Louis timeout with 3:50 left. It's 3rd down and 5. 3:50 left in the first quarter. Pittsburgh goes ahead in their game as well. You see Roy Green, he's still limping along the sideline. Pittsburgh's ahead of Indianapolis. 3:50 left in the scoreless first quarter.
There's a shot of Dick Jamieson, who is the offensive coordinator for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's very optimistic and very enthusiastic about that responsibility. He was one of our first quarterbacks when we started the American Football League way back in 1960 with the Dallas Texans.
He replaces Rod Dowhower, who's now the head coach at Indianapolis. Stump Mitchell in the backfield on 3rd and 5, running with the ball. Nothing doing. You're not going anywhere, Stump. Cleveland had gone into a 4-man front, and Sam Clancy led the rush, and St. Louis will have to punt. Strange call on 3rd and 5, wasn't it?
Watch it here again. It's a counter play. He didn't wait very long for the lineman, Louis Sharp, to get out in front of him. He hurriedly made the step to his left and then to his right, and he didn't get a chance for those people to get out in front. As a result, the defense recovered nicely and made a play, and now they're kicking on 4th down.
Carl Birdsong punting for the 2nd time, and Clarence Weathers stands at his 10. He's on the baseball part of this field. Good snap by Carlos Scott. Kicks it high, short, well covered. Look out, and a fair catch. He took it on the 25. Weathers very sure-handed on that one, and the Browns get it for the 3rd time. 2:56 left in the first quarter and no score. This typical first game for these two teams, right? They're feeling their way a bit.
I think so. I think, you know, if you're not careful, I don't care how you slice it, you play the game with the express purpose of winning the game and not being fearful of losing it. But in the first game, you're so concerned about trying to win a game that unconsciously sometimes you play with the fear of losing, and that's the way they're playing so far, I think.
That was only a 16-yard punt by Birdsong, and here we go from the Browns 25. Mack and Biner in the backfield. Ernest Biner, and he ran by Baker and got 5 yards. Ran right by Bubba Baker.
You know, that kind of a play is kind of ancient history, the old handoff straight ahead. Everybody runs sideways so much. I still think it's a good play because it hits so quickly and you're going straight ahead, and before the guy can react, you're right by him, and that's what happened with Baker. They just ran right by him on a quick handoff.
Miami jumps ahead of Houston in their game. 3-0 first quarter. Tampa Bay ahead of the Bears now, 14-7 in the first quarter. They don't usually score that many points on the Bears early in the game. 2nd down and 5. Fumble, and St. Louis has it. St. Louis has it inside the Browns' 35-yard line. Recovered by Lonnie Young, the rookie from Michigan State. I didn't see what caused the ball to shake loose, did you?
It looked like the quarterback might have gotten out of there just a little quicker, and Paul Ferrin, the left tackle, was premature on his pull. He might have had something to do with a bad exchange too, but he left prematurely, and I'm surprised that he wasn't called. Watch the left tackle. Look at him coming. No, they never got the exchange between the center and the quarterback.
And Farron had the ball hit him on the chest.
It's a wonder the quarterback didn't signal for a fair catch. He went up in the air high enough.
Mike Babb, the center, and Ian Danielson didn't perk. And Lonnie Young comes away with the ball at the Cleveland 34. He's a lot tougher than he used to be, Hank.
I think it's difficult when you take over as a line coach and then become the head coach. You're still very close to the people that you coach, and it takes a little time for you to get acclimated being a head coach and making sure that you do what you have to do to win.
Lomax dumps it off to Earl Farrell, and he has a first down inside the 20, 15-10. First and goal for St. Louis. Earl Farrell with some brilliant running. Tom Cousineau saved the touchdown for Cleveland. A little dump-off pass.
There's a great illustration, I think, of how far Lomax has come as a quarterback. Now watch, he play-action fakes. He stands in the pocket, I think in his early stages he would have taken off and run, but he stayed right in there till the last very second, saw Farrell open, dumped the ball off to him, and as a result they have a great gain on the play, and they're down on the 4-yard line. But I think in the past he'd have taken off and run.
There's a 30-yard gain down to the 4-yard line, first and goal. Anderson trying for his first touchdown of the year, and he gets it. A 4-yard plow by Anderson, who never did go down. He weighs 225 pounds.
Flags are down, though.
Flags are down. He pulled Don Rogers into the end zone with him. Let's check the play. We have 1:18 left in the first quarter. We have no score unless this penalty is against Cleveland.
Illegal substitution. Number 47 was in the offensive backfield. Penalty on the defense. Penalty declined. Touchdown.
Jerry Seaman tells you all. Penalty declined and a 4-yard run by O.J. Anderson for the first touchdown of the year. Six nothing St. Louis with 1:18 left in the first quarter. And O'Donoghue tries the extra point. Last year he kicked 48 out of 51. We'll show you that touchdown again. Scott Bruner is doing the holding with Denny Perrin out of the lineup. And it becomes 7-0. Remember last year in the opener, O'Donoghue missed an extra point against Green Bay, and that cost him a game, didn't it?
Sure did.
Probably was one of the things that
There's
cost him.
Bostic pulling on the play. The lead blocker, number 24, Wolfley, leading the play. And look at, he goes through the pile, goes into the pile, and goes through the pile. And look at the lean, and look at the way he finishes, and goes right into the end zone for the touchdown. Boy, what a great effort on the part of Otis Anderson, number 32.
All of that after the fumble and the recovery by Lonnie Young on the missed snap from center. Anderson has carried 7 times.
Yeah, for 24 yards and a touchdown. And I don't know whether people around the country fully realize how big he is. He's 6'2", 220, and he runs like he's about 240.
I know the Cardinals really wouldn't trade him for anybody, Hank. He gets a lot of criticism occasionally in St. Louis because they think he's inconsistent, but the coaches really admire him.
I think you have to admire him, and I think once the St. Louis Cardinals reach a level with regard to performance of victory and winning more games, he's going to get a lot more recognition, and the kind of recognition that he deserves, because he's really a great running back.
O'Donoghue will kick it off, and Glenn Young, who took the opening kickoff in this game, is back. Young is standing at the goal line. Young out of Mississippi State. O'Donoghue played at Auburn. He is from Ireland. Old Irish footballer. Oh, what a short kick this is. One of the up men takes it at the 15-yard line. That's Greg Allen. And he got about 3 before he is smothered. College football returns to CBS Sports next Saturday. That tackle made by Charles. Ball at the Browns' 18-yard line. They trail 7-0, and they send Biner in motion. Danielson swings it out to Mack. You can see that one coming. He gets some yards out to the 20-yard line. Good for only a couple. He lowered his shoulder and ran into Freddie Joe Nunn and a few fisticuffs. Lionel Washington, number 48, was involved.
That kind of a play, Jack, is a option play where he looks downfield to throw the ball to the receiver. And if he's open, he throws the ball to him. And depending on the linebacker drop, if he gets good depth, why he's going to throw the ball to the back, which he did. He evidently thought the back had enough room. But in spite of that, why they came up quickly and made the tackle.
Second down and 8. Banks is to the left along with Adams. Adams comes back in motion. And it looks like Farron, the left tackle, leads the snap count. Well, it's a young offensive unit that the Browns are putting together, and you do things like that.
You know, Farron, in all fairness to him, he's been an offensive center the last 2 years. His last 2 years in college.
Still third down.
And he's a young player at the tackle position, but there's still no reason, no excuse whatsoever for you to be offside. It's just a lack of concentration, and that's all there is, Jack. You can't make any excuses for it. It's a lack of concentration.
21 seconds left in the first quarter. St. Louis on top, 7-0. And it is second down and 13. Adams in motion. And the running play does nothing. As Kevin Mack ran with it, and Lonnie Young tackled it. And Lonnie Young has been in the middle of a lot of things for a rookie, and that marks the end of the third quarter. When we start the second quarter, the Browns are going to have third down and 13. The only touchdown, a run of 4 yards by O.J. Anderson. I don't know if those fans help much, getting up near 90 degrees here in Cleveland. We have third down and 8 for third down and 13 for the Browns. Danielson in the shotgun, extra defensive back for St. Louis.
It's got to try to get the ball in the middle if they can.
And it's caught for a first down across the 30-yard line by Willis Adams. Big play. Leonard Smith covered. First down for Cleveland.
But the way the defense was playing that time, Jack, you had to throw the ball between the numbers and watch Adams, number 80, go right down the field, break to the inside, and catch the ball inside the numbers. The ball was right on target. Leonard Smith, 45, was in hot pursuit. Covered him well, really, but the ball was thrown perfectly low and at the numbers. No way in the world you can knock that kind of a ball down.
You could see the elation on the part of Gary Danielson. And the power play over the right side with Ernest Biner. Good for about 3.
The best thing they have done so far, talking about the Cleveland Browns, is run right at the defense of the St. Louis Cardinals. When they run straight ahead, they've done a much, much better job of doing that than they have when they've tried to run east and west or sideways.
St. Louis recovered a fumble and went on in for a touchdown, and they lead 7-0. Browns getting a little spark right now. Biner in the backfield, and Danielson calls a timeout. So each team has expended a timeout here in the first half. We have 13:35 left in the half. Riggs a touchdown. Bartkowski a touchdown pass. Atlanta leads the Lions second quarter. New England's ahead of Green Bay in the second quarter by the score of 7-0. And the Giants 14-0 over the Eagles in the second quarter. Tampa Bay leading the Bears 14-7 in the second quarter. It is second down and 7 for the Browns. Danielson hit as he threw. It's caught right at midfield. Willis Adams again. Boy, Danielson really hung tough to the last minute.
And that's what he does so well. He's got terrific concentration, and that time the left end pursued him and got a good shot. It really was Mike Duda, number 73. And in spite of that, he still got rid of the ball in good shape.
Boy, the timing was great. They drove Wayne Smith off the play, didn't they?
They surely did.
The ball right at midfield belongs to the Browns. Willis Adams has caught 2 for 31. Cleveland had only 13 yards of total offense in the first quarter. They're doing better now. Adams in motion. Biner runs straight ahead. Big blast inside the 40. First down. Tackled by Wade Smith and Lonnie Young. That's what Hank was talking about earlier.
And they ran behind Cody Risens. Go to the right side. A good blocking at the point of attack, and Ernest Viner really does a good job of running and pop through there for a nice gain on the play.
They're calling the plays from the bench for Danielson. To the right goes Brett Banks, the rookie receiver. Along with Adams. Viner the lone setback. Two tight ends. Bolton Newsome. Who's he looking for? Very close to a first down there with Harry Holt, the tight end, number 81. David Galloway stopped him, number 65.
That was a play action fake again, and Baker had a shot. Baker had a shot. Look at, he fakes and then goes away. Watch now. Watch Baker come across there. Look at him. But he gets blocked in the process, and he gets the ball to Harry Holt, number 81, who makes a good move to the inside, looking for a place to run, and is finally tackled there by David Galloway, number 65.
First down at the St. Louis 28. Danielson is 5 out of 6 for 48 yards. Viner to the 25. He got 3. Al Baker made the tackle. We have scores of other games for you. There's Bubba Baker. Pittsburgh ahead of Indianapolis 14-3 in the second quarter. Malone having a good day for the Steelers. Miami pads their lead 10-0 over the Oilers in the second quarter. And Seattle ahead at Cincinnati. They scored early. They're in the second quarter 7-0. Second down and 7 for the Browns at the St. Louis 25. Adams in motion, and the give to Mack. He's down near the 20. It's going to be third and about 3. What's that motion doing to St. Louis, Hank?
It's really not doing very much at all. In fact, I was surprised they brought a man in motion to that side, because they had exactly what they wanted before the ball was snapped, and they sent him in motion and brought another guy over there. There you see Peters. He's a little upset, and there you see him calling the defensive signals for the St. Louis Cardinals. The last play, the left tackle and the left guard, Farron and Lilja, both pulled and seemingly did a good job on the play.
Third down and 3 for the Browns at the St. Louis 21.
See if they run right over Risen.
Davis in the backfield blocking, and a good push by the Browns. Looks like they're a little short. They may have squirted out of there, talking about Viner, and gotten the first down. Let's see where they marked him down. Stops the clock with 10:20 left in the half. E.J. Jr. and Mark Duda were in on the tackle. Jr., by the way, as we look at Schottenheimer, Duda missed part of last year, and Jr. today is calling the defensive signals. It's fourth down and a foot.
You know, they were a little concerned. I think Jr. was a little concerned. He didn't think they liked to call the signals, but Bernie Perrin is out, so he has to fulfill that responsibility. But he seemingly thinks it takes away from his play because of the involvement in all the calls. But he said, in spite of that, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do a good job, and I'm going to play well. That's what he said yesterday.
It's short of a first down, and the Browns are not sending their field goal unit on the field.
I think any time there's less than a yard, inches to go, you're going to go for it. And in all probability, depending on what the defense is, they might call a quarterback sneak just because they only have a couple of inches to go for the first down.
Big Johnny Davis is in the backfield as the upback. With Ernest Viner, the tailback. Viner got a first down, I think. Yeah, he did. He did. E.J. Jr. made the hit.
You know, Danielson's an unusual guy. Talking to the coaches yesterday out at practice, they said that Danielson came over to them and said, you know, I know that you're wanting to prepare Bernie Kosar for the future. I don't need nearly as many repetitions as I used to, so if you want to put him in there and practice and give him more work, that's fine, because it's not going to bother my efficiency. Pretty unusual for a quarterback like Danielson.
First down at the St. Louis 17. Plenty of time. End zone. Nothing doing. Nothing doing to Holt, the tight end. It's covered by the linebacker, 54, E.J. Jr.
And Galloway got pretty good penetration, but in spite of that, he threw the ball, but just threw the receiver, Harry Holt, and it goes incomplete.
I just heard somebody turn their television set on, and they don't know the score. 7-0 St. Louis. 4-yard touchdown run by O.J. Anderson. 9:23 left in the half. You didn't know I could hear those things, did you?
Well, there's probably somebody here in Cleveland who turned to say the score. They're not being televised locally.
2nd and 10 from the St. Louis 17.
They should have run right here. Now, that's what they did the last time from this formation. Let's see if they do it again. There they do.
Miner straight ahead and wrestling him down with Mark Duda. Short yards. It'll be 3rd and long.
That's a trap play, Jack, where he starts up the middle and then bears to his right behind the block of the left guard. In this particular case, George Lulia, number 62. But they want to set it up like he's going to run straight ahead, and then he veers to his right. At that time, the Cardinal defense played it very well, and the tackle was made by Mike Duda, number 73.
8:50 left in the half. 3rd and 9 at the St. Louis 16. Bobby Johnson comes in defensively for St. Louis along with Grooms and Lois Grooms. The man fell down. The rookie Fred Banks had his feet go out from under him with Wayne Smith covering as he couldn't get any footing on the baseball diamond portion of this field.
But here again, I think that's typical of a rookie, Jack. He has to realize that in that position of the field, he had to test that before the game to make sure, and when they practice here, to make sure that he is under control on the skin infield part of the field. Here he is going down the field, looks to the inside, but in the process of trying to stop and come back, his footing, he slipped and fell, and the ball was thrown over the top.
Paul McDonald will hold at the 23. It's a 33-yard try by Matt Barr. And he puts Cleveland on the board. So a good drive for Cleveland, and they come away with some points. 8:29 left in the half.
Matt Barr kicked 12 straight last year, and now he kicks the first one this year. He's got 13 in a row going, Jack.
That's quite a streak for the little guy out of Penn State. And now he'll do the kicking off for Cleveland. 33-yard field goal by Matt Barr.
He kicked 24 field goals last year, which is the highest mark ever for a Cleveland kicker.
He's been on a hot streak with 28 extra points in a row and now 13 field goals in succession.
You know, last year he didn't kick off, Jack. Steve Cox was the kickoff guy, and as a result, he had a great year. And I asked him if it makes any difference if he'll kick as well now that he's kicking off along with kicking field goals and extra points. And he said, no, he said, I think I'll do better because I'm more involved in the game, and the more I kick, the better I'm going to be. So, which was kind of an unusual answer.
You know, I told him.
Neither one of these kickers gets the ball into the end zone ordinarily. Back to get it will be Stump Mitchell. He averaged 23 yards per kickoff return last year. Little fella, 5'9", 188 out of the Citadel. Ron Wolfley, the rookie, is back there with him. And Perry Harrington. 8.5 left in the half. 7-3 St. Louis. A line drive, and it's into and out of the end zone. It'll come out to the 20-yard line. Touchdown in the end zone. Up to the St. Louis 20. I think you had an impression when you watched the Cardinals work out yesterday. They may have been a little nonchalant. Do you see any of that carrying over here?
No, I don't think so. No, not so far. I think it's a little lackluster. I think it's had kind of a game so far, which is typical maybe of the fact that it's the first game, and it's also very, very hot and humid. But looking at them yesterday, I just felt that they were very nonchalant and very, very confident. Of course, you have to be confident going into a game, but I think you've got to be careful that you're not too confident and not nonchalant.
Green to the right, Tilly to the left. Marsh the tight end. Pass play on first down by Lomax. He airs it out for Green, and he's got it. What a fantastic catch by Roy Green. Inside the 35 with Minifield and Rogers covering.
Well, he caught the end of the ball that time, Jack. I didn't think he was going to reach the ball. There was quite a bit of separation between him and the ball when it was up in the air. Look at Minifield. He makes a little move and then runs right by Minifield. He gets trying to get help from the inside, but he doesn't get there. Fantastic catch by Roy Green.
Good for 47. Boy, that was a catch.
But he literally caught the end of the ball that time and held on to it. Fantastic catch by Roy Green.
7:41 left in the half. Green goes off. Mack replaces him. Here's Stump Mitchell trying to get outside and had to struggle for a yard or so. Good pursuit by Cleveland with their linebackers, and it was jammed up by Eddie Johnson.
You know, that's a counter play, a counter tray play that the Washington Redskins use so well with Riggins. Typical of what happens in anything that's successful. Almost every team in the league is using that play now. It takes a little time to develop, and that time, by the time the ball carrier got there, while the defense pursued very well, and he had no place to run whatsoever. Tootie Robbins was pulling on the play.
Cleveland has lost 2 of their starters on defense. Al Gross and Clay Matthews. We'll tell you about it here. Motion by Marsh, 2nd and 9. And a sack of Lomax by Curtis Weathers, number 55. He had some help. The Dogs got after him that time.
You could hear the barking. Curtis Weathers, number 55, blitzing on the play. Here you see him coming in from the backside, and he goes right through Stump Mitchell and makes the play. Stump Mitchell was supposed to be the blocker on the play, ran right through Stump, and that's pretty good achievement because Stump is low to the ground. He usually gets very good leverage, but in spite of that, he made the play.
Clay Matthews has a lower back problem. Al Gross has pulled a hamstring, and neither one is expected back for Cleveland. It's 3rd down and 14. Swing out here to Mitchell. Cuts back to the 30, and a big hit, 4th down. St. Louis will try a long field goal try. Pazzulli made a big hit along with Felix Wright. Pazzulli 72 and Wright 22. Big hits.
Well, you talk about get him in the nutcracker. Look at that. A low hit there, and look at Pazzulli come in there, number 71 or 72, and make the stop on Stump Mitchell.
O'Donoghue will try a field goal. His longest last year was 49 yards. And there's another linebacker. They've already lost Clay Matthews, and Eddie Johnson is shaken up of the Browns. The ball rests at the Cleveland 28.
You know, it's funny how that works, Jack. You think you go into a season and you think one area of your football team is by far the strongest. In this particular case, they talk about the linebackers of the Cleveland Browns, and here this afternoon, a couple of them have been hurt already.
Matthews is not expected back. Hannafin spoke in glowing terms of his adversary today, didn't he, about Matthews?
Well, he should, because he really is one of the great linebackers in the league, and he's not overly large. But as I said earlier, he's not big until he hits you.
The longest field goal last year for O'Donoghue was 49 yards.
I talked to O'Donoghue before the game in the pregame warm-up and asked about his kicking on natural grass. He kind of looked at me kind of funny. He didn't do any handstands. He wasn't overjoyed, but he said, I got to root it out of there just like a wedge shot, and smiled and kicked, and he was kicking well in the grass before the game.
Carlos Scott will snap it. Scott Bruner will set it down at the 35. So it's a 45-yard try. Watch the follow through by O'Donoghue. See if he kicks right through it. He kind of stubbed it, didn't he? And he missed it. He didn't finish that kick, did he?
He doesn't finish mini kicks very well at all, Jack. He kind of punches the ball. He's straight up and down. He doesn't get any lean, and as a result, he kind of punches the ball rather than really attack the ball.
This field goal try, Hank.
Well, watch his head. His head goes up a little quicker than it should. You have to keep not your head down, but you have to keep it still and the leg should be up higher as far as the follow-through is concerned. The leg should be up closer to the number. It was about waist-high that time, and there was no follow-through.
He tried to apply a little English. There's O'Donohue, number 11. And Cleveland takes over their 28. They stopped that threat after the 47-yard pass to Roy Green. Viner running. And a good low tackle, and he had good balance and went across the 30. And it was Leonard Smith who tripped him up. We have 5:10 left in the half.
You know, the Cleveland, talking to Marty Schottenheimer yesterday and the coaches, it's very obvious they want to recapture a balanced personality offensively. They want to throw the ball and run the ball about the same number of times, and they're desperately trying to maintain that kind of a ratio here this afternoon.
Newsome, the tight end's on the left side. They haven't thrown to him yet. Adams in motion. And here comes Mack, and he ran right by Charlie Baker, the linebacker, and he makes it about 3rd and 2 out to the 35. Charlie Baker ran right by him.
There again, Jack, we saw a play that was successful because it went straight at the defense, and Kevin Mack is 6 foot and weighs 212. Now look, and Baker is number 52. Look at, he goes right through there, maintains balance, but it's a straight ahead shot, and he picks up a nice gain in the play.
3rd down and 2 for the Browns. Will they gamble here?
Play action.
Yep, and the blitz, E.J. Jr. came flying through, and the Browns will have to punt, and that's the 2nd time that Danielson has been sacked.
There again, Jack, play action fake with a blitz. No way in the world that you can get the ball off. Watch it. Watch the middle of the screen. You see that he's trying to fake. He doesn't see him coming. By the time he tries to right himself and get rid of the ball, school is out. E.J. Jr. is in there, smothers him, he makes the tackle. Number 54. But that's what happens in a play action pass. You're much better off if you smell the play action and change the play to line of scrimmage and go back in the pocket and try to take advantage of it so you can take advantage and see everything without turning your back on the defense.
Gossett punting for the 3rd time. Stump Mitchell back waiting. Not too good a kick this time. Let's check the bounce. But he gets a good roll, and Mitchell stays away from it. He gets good yards to the St. Louis 20.
You know, it's a proven fact, Jack, that from a statistical standpoint, if you let the ball bounce, it's going to average about 16 to 20 yards on every roll. 51-yard kick.
51-yard kick with a good roll. And no coffee. 105. He'd still keep his necktie tied up. That Mays?
I got some ice in this tie to keep my neck cool.
Dapper Dan. St. Louis has the ball at their 20-yard line. They just missed a field goal opportunity, and they're out in front by the score of 7-3. I thought this would be a little one-sided, going in my own opinion, Hank. I thought Cardinals would dominate them.
I thought they would until I saw them practice yesterday, and then I was a little unsure of how they would play. One other thing that was kind of cute, I talked to Roy Green yesterday before the game on the field, and I said, Roy, you've seen pictures of the defensive backs, and there's a lot of ballyhoo about how good they are. What do you think? All he did was smile.
He just smiled, and he showed us why a while ago when he caught one for 47 yards.
And talking to Minifield and also Dixon, they said we gotta intimidate Green as much as we possibly can. We got to get in his face. We got to get him talking to us. They haven't done that so far.
Pretty good blocking by Farrell and a run by O.J. Anderson of 5 yards out to the 25. Well, you want to know what's going on elsewhere, right? With 3.5 left in this game. Curtis Weathers made that tackle, and Detroit has come back to tie the Falcons in the 2nd quarter, 14-all. New England 12-6 over Green Bay in the 2nd quarter. Cardinals have a game this year with Green Bay. And Minnesota playing tough. 49ers 7-0. They got out in front early. Now they're in the 2nd quarter. And Tampa Bay and Chicago in a freewheeling affair, with the Bucks leading 21-14 in the 2nd quarter. 2nd down and 5 for St. Louis. Trying to establish the running game. Probably do it again with O.J. Now this time Farrell at the block by O.J. and a good tackle. The defensive man, Pizzulli, was down, and he just reached out and tripped up the big fullback, making it 3rd and 4. Good play by Dave Pizzulli out of Pittsburgh. More scores. And who is that?
You know, talking about Pizzulli, Jack, Reggie Camp. It was questionable as to whether he was going to play. They put Bazuli at left end, and when they put Bazuli at left end, all of a sudden Camp got better in a big hurry, and all of a sudden he was ready to start the game. So
that's Tootie Robbins, the offensive tackle, a 300-pounder for St. Louis. We'll see what happened to him. There's a rookie backing him up by the name of Scott Burgold out of Wisconsin, the number 2 pick for St. Louis. Tootie is down. Pittsburgh widens their lead over Indianapolis. 17-3. Of course, Pittsburgh's in the Cleveland division. Kansas City walloping New Orleans, the most one-sided score we've seen today. Houston staying tough with Miami, 13-6 in the second quarter. And Seattle, they can score some points, and they lead the Bengals 21-7 in the second quarter. Tootie Robbins walking very slowly off the field. We won't even hazard a guess. It's his right leg. And Carlos Scott is going to replace him at the right tackle. They missed that Robbins, I'll tell you that.
You know, it's surprising. We thought we would maybe see Luis Sharp out of the game by now, and with the idea of giving him a rest, but they haven't done anything with him yet. Evidently, he's holding up pretty good in this heat.
Yeah, he's only practiced a week after being a late signer.
And he weighs about 295, they tell me, which is a lot heavier than he did a year ago. A year ago, he had about 260, 265.
There's Sharp, the left tackle. 3rd down and 4. Let's see if they shift into the shotgun. Marsh in motion. Good blocking. And he dropped the ball. It's a fumble. Cleveland has it. No, incomplete. 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 Minifield had picked it up after Marsh had dropped it. And he would have had a first down had he held the ball. So St. Louis will have to punt as we watch it again.
Here you see Lomax again. He's running, but not running with the idea of running with the idea of being able to throw the football. There you see him. Throws the ball to Marsh. He makes the catch. It's hit from the backside.
He never did have it. He bobbled it.
It looked like he did bobble it. He didn't have the possession. Possession and both feet were on the ground, but he didn't have control of the ball.
5 out of 7 for Lomax. He's been sacked twice. Birdsong is punting for the 3rd time. 2:06 left in the half, and Clarence Weathers is inside his 40. Cleveland should be in pretty good shape when they get the ball. They trail 7-3. Good snap by Scott. Birdsong with a booming punt. Weathers all the way back to the 24. Out of bounds, and a flag goes down. He's out of bounds at his 35. It was Perry Harrington who chased him out. We'll check the flag, probably against Cleveland. It usually is on a kick return. 51-yard punt. Illegal use of hands against Cleveland on the return. So instead of having it at the 35, they'll have 1 minute and 54 seconds to do something from deeper in.
Last year, the specialty teams were really a sore spot with the Cleveland Browns. They came into the season with a hope and expectation that they would improve dramatically in that area.
During the return, number 20 receiving team, first down. That is a 2-minute
They picked up Bill Cower from Philadelphia to do the work for him on the special teams. There's Jim Hannafin. He is leading by 4. 1:54 left in the half. There's the Cleveland head coach. Great fellow to talk with, Hank. Very intelligent. Good vocabulary. Knows what he's talking about.
That's right, and he knows exactly what he wants to do with this football team, and I think he's got a very strong endorsement from the owner, Art Modell, which is justified, and I think he's going to do a great job here.
Finer the tailback. Mack the up back. Danielson. Out of running room. He'll get out of bounds. Big first down around to the 45. He's not known for that.
The key to the success of the play, Jack, was really Cody Rison, number 63, and watch Baker. Baker runs up the field, and watch Rison knocks him to the outside. Danielson sees it, He jumps inside of that big cavity on the inside of Baker.
Scott Burgo couldn't catch him.
Couldn't catch him, and he's flying down the sideline.
Now, here's a smart play by the rookie 43 who left him alone, Hank, instead of hitting him, right? Watch.
Yeah, that's right, because a lot of times you hit him late, and they tack on another penalty on the play.
First down at the Cleveland 44. Ozzie Newsome, right? Another first down.
The Wizard of Oz just made his first catch. And talking to him yesterday, we talked about the balance and the fact that they're going to run the ball a lot more. And what he felt about it, he said, doesn't make any difference as long as we win and we do a good job. But he smiled and he said,
there's a flag down, and they're bringing it back.
Well, that's the thing they didn't want to have happen because they've had that happen so many times last year. What did they lose, Jack? 9 games last year in the last 2 minutes.
It was terrible. Their record was 5-11. They lost 9 of the games in the last 2 minutes, and they lost 4 of them on the last play of the game on field goal.
Holding number 63, offense.
The call against Cody Risen. It negates the big long gain, which would have been at the St. Louis 35.
I'm sure what happened on the play, Jack, the last time Risen was blocking Baker, we talked about running inside of him, but he was holding Baker on that play. The official did not see it. Evidently, Baker must have did a little squeaking to the official. He came right back and called it the next time.
They're at the Cleveland 34, 1st and 20. I know you like to say don't try to get it all at once, right?
That's right. They might run the ball here to see if they... There they do.
Here comes Biner. Of course, St. Louis was willing to give them some yards. It'll be 2nd and 12, tackled by E.J. Jr. and Leonard Smith.
They don't feel a great deal of confidence in the offensive line yet as far as pocket pass protection is concerned, meaning they, you know, when he just goes right back in the pocket and advertises pass, they're real concerned about the offensive line.
I'm surprised St. Louis doesn't stop the clock.
That is a surprise.
Don't you?
Yep.
They're letting it run down to 105, running down to the 1-minute mark, and the Browns deep in their own territory a moment ago, probably happy to get off of here, trailing by only 4.
But they didn't want to get into a situation where they're 3rd and 20. They just want to reduce it as much as they can, so they're back in a good position to get the yardage.
Danielson laterals the ball to Holt, and it's still 3rd down and long coming up. 40 seconds left, and now the Browns call timeout with 40 seconds left in the half. Tackle made by Thomas Howard. First time we've mentioned his name today. He's their strong side linebacker, number 59. This is the 2nd Cleveland timeout.
But they got exactly what they wanted to get. They hopefully were trying to get a first down, Jack, but they wind up now with about 3rd and 6. And that's a situation that puts a lot more pressure on the defense than winding up with 3rd and 20.
They're trying to overcome the holding call. And you see Cleveland has one more timeout remaining.
I asked Danielson yesterday, and there's a good picture of him on the sideline. I said, who influenced your quarterback career more than any one person? And he said, I'd probably have to say Bob Schnelker, who is now the offensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers and was in Detroit with him, and he felt that he got the most. He said he was very complimentary of all the people he was associated with, but basically
yeah,
Bob
said,
Schnelker was
what
the
did he
best.
say? Babe Purley, Perry Moss. He said he's been lucky to be around pretty good teachers.
Yes.
And they've given him the job here. We've done a lot of the Detroit games lately, and they've got Hipple and they've got Danielson, and they're always trying somebody else, and they never did really have a settled situation there. Here, Bernie Kosar, the pride of Boardman, Ohio. By the way, his high school band is here today.
I talked to Bernie right outside the locker room before the game. Had a nice visit with him. He's a delightful young man, and he knows where he's going. He knows that it's going to take a little time. He knows that eventually it's not a question of if, it's going to be a question of when. Everybody shares that same feeling about Kosar, and he feels good about the fact that he's playing in Cleveland, of course, and he's wearing Johnny Unitas's old number 19.
3rd down and 6 for the Browns. Plenty of time, and here it out, and there it is. Lionel Washington covering Adams. And apparently he didn't touch him. The official had a good look at it. The crowd reacted adversely. I thought perhaps he got him a little early. Did you?
I did too. Watch. Watch here now. He kind of gets square on him, and now he's running away from him. Washington is behind and losing ground.
Here comes the ball.
Here comes the ball.
And Yeah.
He hit him
dragged
before,
him down.
He did. Before he had a chance to make the catch, it was a bad call on the part of the official, I think.
I think so, too. We may be wrong, but we both agree.
From this angle, it certainly looked like he got a shot at him while the ball was still in the air.
4th down and a punting situation for Gossett with 33 seconds left in the half. I think St. Louis got away with something that time. And another great punt by Gossett. Trying to get it out of bounds, and he does at the 17, 18-yard line.
You know,
Gossett thinks he gets a little more yards than that, but there's a 35-yard punt.
Gossett is a very, very good athlete, and that's the kind of a player you like to have back there kicking the ball for you. But along with that, to emphasize the athletic ability, he was drafted by the New York Mets, a very outstanding baseball player.
25 seconds left in the half. Boy, that last play on the bomb was really something, with Washington covering Willis Adams. We kind of thought he got him around the hips and dragged him down just before the ball got there.
I thought initially, when I first saw the play, I thought that's what occurred, but looking back in the pictures, it verified that feeling that we had, Jack, that he really hit him while the ball was still in the air.
Well, that's history, but I think the Cardinals got away with something, and they'll just run the clock out and enjoy a 7-3 lead at the half and then get the second half kickoff. An interesting character is over in New York with Brent Musburger, Jack Youngblood. Was there ever anybody any better than he was?
Oh, he loved to play and had great pride in the way he played. And he was very reluctant to retire this year, but he's had trouble with the back, and I think he did a very wise thing.
There's the gun. And we have halftime here on a hot day, and there's our score. We had a 4-yard touchdown run by O.J. Anderson and a 33-yard field goal by Matt Barr. That's the end of the half with the score 7-3 St. Louis.
Welcome back to New York, and Irv. It's a pleasure to have Jack Youngblood here. You don't miss it today, do you, big fella?
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
Let's take everybody to the scoreboard, get you up to date right now. Tampa Bay ambushed Chicago early in Soldier Field. Steve DeBerg has thrown 3 touchdown passes in that game. What about DeBerg, Jack? Does he have potential to be a winner?
He really does. And under the system with Lehman Bennett, he's gonna make some things happen in the NFL.
All right, Irv. What about Jim McMahon?
Boy, you have to like Jim McMahon and his attitude. He's a tough guy, great competitor. Like that haircut he has, too, the little tail in the back. You know, here he rolls out to his right and hits his wide receiver for a touchdown.
Now, Steve DeBerg has thrown just 9 passes in this game, 3 of them for touchdowns. This, the bomb, 44 yards, and we get an update out of Chicago that Tampa Bay has gone in again. So put up another touchdown for him and make it 28-17, the update on that game. Kansas City and New Orleans and the Chiefs. Remember what the Greeks said in the pregame show. Beware the Chiefs. 26-3, they winning there. St. Louis and Cleveland, and of course many of you are watching that game. 7-3. The Browns are being tough on that Cardinal defense. Here is Neil Lomax, and he's starting to develop, isn't he, Jack?
He really is. That boy's got a cannon for an arm, and he can make things happen with the pass.
Well, here he is going to Earl Farrell. Farrell got it down to the 4-yard line. That set up a touchdown burst by Otis Anderson, and O.J.'s having a big day.
He is, Brent, but one of the things he wants to do is concentrate on holding the ball. He had a lot of fumble problems last year, and he said this year he's going to hang on. This time he took a few Browns in with him.
And, of course, Matt Barr has the Brown field goal. All right, now, the Indianapolis Colts are being routed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Luis Lips has already caught 2 touchdown passes, 6 balls for 111 yards for the Steelers in that game. Seattle over Cincinnati, they are not yet quite at the half. It is 21-10. Oh, they have gone to the half. 21-10, Seahawks leading there. Atlanta and Detroit, the Falcons have jumped into the lead there in the second quarter, 21-14. Now, the rest of you are watching this particular game. Packers look sluggish. We expected more out of that team this year. Patriots jumped on them earlier.
Well, of course, one of the things Green Bay wanted to do is, of course, contain that highly potent Patriot offense. And Tony Collins, a great little running back here, skirts outside for an 11-yard touchdown. That's great movement.
Here's Jack Youngblood's favorite play of the afternoon. Coming up right now, go get the quarterback.
Absolutely. And in the end zone where it counts. The only time a defensive lineman can really score.
But some of these defensive guys get beat up. check over there is Lynn Dickey. There it is, huh? Herb, that's a big injury for Green Bay.
Boy, Mike Douglas kind of anchors that Green Bay defense. He went out with a fractured clavicle. They cannot afford to lose him.
Yeah, exactly. He's a good player. Miami and Houston now. 13-9. Dan Marino was shaken up, not serious. He has gone back into the game, and they are at the half there. Philadelphia and the Giants. Giants got their 2 touchdowns quickly at the opening quarter, and after that, the weather and the defense started dominating. Here's Phil Simms.
Well, Phil Simms has finally gotten to the point where I think he's being recognized as a complete pro quarterback. Here, rolling out, hits Lionel Manuel for a 23-yard touchdown. Nice touch.
Watch this sack coming up here, big fella.
Look out, Jaworski.
I'm sure you yelled that when you were coming. Yeah,
that's right.
You bet. And here comes Joe Morris. And the Giants have got both their touchdowns. And then, folks, look at what happened over in the Meadowlands. I mean, the skies opened up, and those fellows left from the Springsteen concert. They enjoyed it. What about playing in the rain?
It's fun. It's fun. You slip, you slide. It makes you cool, too.
Yeah, it does make you cool, right? All right, now to the scoreboard. And, of course, we can see that the San Francisco 49ers lead Minnesota 7-0. Bit of a surprise, but the return of Bud Grant. And the Vikings fumbled right away, and then Roger Craig. What about him, Jack?
Roger Craig has become a dominant force on the San Francisco offensive outlook. He goes in for a score here. He's definitely a force.
Herb, then Joe Montana was injured. Is it serious?
Well, anytime you get your starting quarterback nicked, it's serious. And a guy like Montana, you want to protect at all times. Here he's forced to scramble out of the pocket. As he rolls out, Willie Teal nips him there, and he bruised his ankle a little bit. He did come back, though.
Then Matt Cavanaugh came in for a couple of series. Oh, Freddie Solomon was all alone. That had 6 written on it. And, Jack, who do you blame, the quarterback or the wide receiver?
Well, I think I'd have to blame the quarterback there for overthrowing it.
I would, too. What about you?
You always blame the quarterback.
You know, we get an update out of Chicago's Wrigley Field. Pete Rose, who, if you were watching the NFL today, just minutes before he came on the air, learned that a right-handed pitcher was going to go for the Cubs, quickly put himself into the starting lineup. He has singled in the first inning in Wrigley Field. He has now closed to within 2 of breaking Ty Cobb's record. And what he told us is, if he can break it in Wrigley Field, he will not wait to get back home in Cincinnati because they're still in a pennant race. The NFL Today continues on CBS after these messages from your blood. Doesn't ordinarily talk tennis, but Jack, what do you think about our championship?
Tennis, to me, is like eating quiche, Brent. However, I think that John McEnroe, he may have the attitude and the capability of playing some other game.
All right. What do you think about the final?
We're back here at the half, and the Cleveland Browns are the first team to re-enter the stadium. Hank with a score of 7-3 St. Louis, and the Cardinals will get the second half kickoff. I kind of think this grass field does slow the Cardinals down a bit.
I don't think there's any question about it. I think when you're used to practicing and working on synthetic turf, you're a lot faster, you feel faster. You get on grass, you feel like you're running in quicksand. I think there's a dramatic difference, no question about it.
Then when they get around that baseball part of the field, why, it costs them a lot of footing. Let's watch the first touchdown by Anderson, 4 yards.
Yeah, they come in. Now there's Anderson coming to the inside, and Rogers, number 20, makes a big mistake by trying to tackle him high. He's very strong, and you have to hit him low if you're going to bring him down. But look at the power, and look at the determination on the part of Otis Anderson. He gets into the pile and comes out the other end, gets his touchdown. They go ahead 7-0.
And we saw that Roy Green was up to his old tricks with Minifield covering him.
Yeah, look at this. Minifield turns to the inside right off the bat. He expects to get some help. He makes a little move to the outside, which slows down Minifield, runs right by him. The safety man doesn't get over to help, but he catches the end of the ball. Fantastic catch by Roy Green. But unbelievable.
Then St. Louis missed a field goal try, and here was one right at the close of the half.
Yeah, this is lucky. They get by with Mortar this time. Washington looks like he gets a shot at the receiver Adams while the ball is still in flight, and it looked like from this angle that it should have been a pass interference.
Yeah, both Hank and I had that impression when we saw the play live, and then later when we saw the replay of it, that there was a little early contact. And we're getting ready to go in the second half. There is Kozari. Where's number 19? Gary Danielson not only is enjoying the starting role for the Browns, but apparently he takes great satisfaction in being part of the growing and learning process on the part of Kozar.
Yeah, he really does. And you know, when we talked to him yesterday, you would think maybe that there would be a kind of a natural competitive urge for him to feel a little differently about it. but he's very cooperative. As I mentioned to you earlier, that he went to the coaches and said, listen, I don't need that many repetitions. If you want to give Kozar some more work in practice, that's fine with me, which is very unusual.
And they also have Paul McDonald, the left-hander. Now there's Neil Lomax. He's talking with Stafford Mays, one of the defensive players, 5 out of 7. He was sacked a couple of times. He hasn't done any running today, and his running frequently plays a big part. Well, he started one time, and he was hauled down from behind. Lomax has had 5 years in the league. Let's check the stats in the first half. And not many rushing yards by the Cardinals with a big back like O.J. Anderson. However, not many passing yards for the Browns, and total yards about the same, and 1 turnover. That was a fumble by the Browns, and it cost them a touchdown.
Yes, and I think, you know, the other thing that's important, Jack, I would think really that the Cleveland Browns, the coaching staff, have to feel very, very good about the score at this particular time, and I think they feel and hope that as long as they have a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter, that's all they're looking for. And the way the game is going, they still have that possibility.
They don't feel good about the absence of Clay Matthews, their outside linebacker, their weak side linebacker, or Al Gross, their strong safety. They're both out with injuries, and they'll have to make do with Rockins at the safety spot and Curtis Weathers filling in for Matthews.
Well, Rockins has a very strong, tough reputation, and I don't think what we've seen so far in the first half of that has made much difference.
Here's the kickoff from Barr to Mitchell. Got a lucky bounce, didn't he? And he came across the 20-yard line. Mitchell had it, fumbled it, got a good bounce, and Larry Brazil was downfield to make the tackle.
Stump looked like he lost the ball. It hit him right in the face mask, really. He had to lose it, but luckily it hit him and bounced right down and came right back up, and he didn't miss a stride.
We'll check the approach of the Cardinals now. We'll also check and see whether Tootie Robbins is in there at the right tackle spot. Yeah, he's back in there, number 63. So he was off injured earlier, and he is playing. So it's Randy Clark, Doug Dawson, Joe Bostic, Luis Sharp, and Tootie Robbins.
St. Louis, I think, as they go along, they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit more in 1st and 10. They were 4 for 4 in the first half.
Green is to the right side, 2 tight ends. Barrow in motion. Here comes Anderson. He's got a blocker out there, but good pursuit. Very good work by Dixon on the corner, along with the linebacker Curtis Weathers. Barrow was out there to block the corner, and he never got near him.
Weathers really is his responsibility to maintain outside leverage and not get hooked by that tight end. He used his hands very, very well and forced him to the outside, and in the meantime, Dixon came up and made the play. Good play, really, on the part of Weathers, number 55.
We've just started the third quarter. Weathers is in there for Matthews. This fellow's out of Mississippi, played 7 years. Matthews says he may try to come back toward the latter part of the game. He has a lower back injury. And Marsh, the tight end, caught it from modest yards to the 25. It'll be third and 7. Tom Cousineau, the tackler.
I tell you, that Cousineau impresses you. All those linebackers do a good job, but he's been all over the field. And talking to Tom Pratt and Tom Bettis, the defensive coaches of the Cleveland Browns, why they both are very high in the praises of Cousineau, justifiably so, because he does cover so much territory.
He's a race car driver, too, huh?
How does he get in that little car? That's what I can't figure out.
I'd get out of his way. 3rd down and 7. 6 defensive backs for Cleveland, including Brazil and Felix Wright. Shotgun for Lomax. Underthrown and incomplete. Very good coverage also. Intended for Roy Green, and Dixon went right with him to the point where Lomax had to drill the ball very close to the ground. Watch Dixon, 29.
29. He's going to play on the slot all the time, most of the time. Especially want him to be on Green, and he covers him well and gets a good jump on the ball. Had the ball been thrown a little higher, he might have been able to suck it up and make the interception.
All over him like an abalone, right?
Abalone.
6 out of 9 for Lomax, and they root for the dogs and the defensive unit of the Browns, who should get the ball in good shape. Clarence Weathers will get the punt from Birdsong, and he'll return it too. He'll have time from the 29-30, 35-40. Outside, 47. Well, there's big goings on now in the United States Open Tennis Tournament. E.J. Jr. made that downfield. Danielson back to work from his own 43.
They threw the ball 3 times on 1st and 10 in the first half, completed 2. This would be a good time for a play-action pass right here, Jack.
Cleveland really has the momentum on the Cardinals, who have done very little today except take the lead. And that's Biner. He was stood straight up and knocked down. Ernest Biner out of East Carolina ran into David Galloway. Galloway's 280. Duda, who also helped, 280. Biner 215.
They're still trying to do what they did very well in the first half, really, and that's run straight at the defense. Nothing fancy, no counters, no nothing, just run right at them, and they've done a good job of that so far in this contest.
Danielson picked them apart in the last couple of minutes, didn't they? Came away empty, however. At the center. Newsome moved, now he's in motion. Looking for Newsome long. And it is good. They caught it inbounds. Despite the efforts of Lionel Washington. Boy, with great concentration. Washington knocked it away and then he got it.
And the important thing was that he kept both feet in bounds, Jack. That was the key.
How did he do that?
He was aware of where he was, evidently. Watch, he throws the ball up on top, and Washington is right with him. The ball is deflected. Look, it bounces up in the air. But look at Ozzie Newsome, maintains concentration, has both feet in bounds.
Good call. To the St. Louis 27. I'll watch it from another angle.
Yeah, but there again is a great play by Ozzie Newsome, and you can't cover him any better than Washington covered him on the play.
27 yards. First down to the Cardinal 27. Adams to the left. Banks to the right. Biner hauled down from behind by David Galloway, and the ball came loose and a fumble. And St. Louis gets it. Biner fumbled. He comes out hopping mad, and it was Freddie Joe Nunn, the rookie, who got the ball. Second turnover by Cleveland.
Talking to the coaches about Biner, they like him very much, except they did say that he fumbles, had a bad season as far as fumbling in preseason. He veers to the outside. He's got the ball away from pressure. There you see him tackled by Galloway, number 65, and in the process, he evidently got his arm into the ball area, knocked it loose, and they recover. And the St. Louis Cardinals have possession 1st and 10 at about the 25.
Right at their own 25. Here at the outset of the third quarter, 12:36 left in the period. Second time the Cardinals have had the ball in this quarter. Farrell and Anderson in the backfield. Anderson bounces for 5. One fellow we haven't talked about who anchors the middle of the defensive line of Cleveland is Bob Golick. What a handful he is.
I tell you, and I saw him right before the game. He just came back from chapel services while I was outside the dressing room and had a nice visit with him. And, you know, watching him practice, talking about the Cleveland Browns, they all wear braces in practice for protective measures.
They say the coaches make them wear them.
They have to wear them, and Golick, he really looks like Frankenstein in there with all that equipment on. But he says that playing in the middle, he needs them, and he likes them.
Anderson gets a first down and across the 45-yard line with a big run. Well, there was some good blocking. Some knockdown blocking by Joe Bostic.
Yeah, what a clean hole. A clean hole. Watch it. They're reaching in good shape. You see Sharp go through and try to pick up a linebacker. He doesn't do anything. And finally, Rogers.
Tilly helping with the blocking.
Yeah, Dixon makes the tackle, but Rogers had a shot at him and missed the tackle.
Ball at the St. Louis 47. Anderson has carried 11 times for 50. That was a 16-yard run. Number 11 in the league, the all-time rusher. That's how good he is. Green to the right and Tilly to the left. First down pass. Running room. And fumbled it out of bounds at the 45 of Cleveland. He picked up about 8 or 9 yards, and Curtis Weathers ran him out of bounds. Tommy, it really shakes you up when that quarterback can run like that.
Oh, it really disturbs the rush completely because, you know, if you know where he's going to be all the time, it's a lot easier. You never know where Lomax is going to be. He's got that great ability to get out of the pocket. But that time, you know what's happening? The Cleveland Browns are playing a lot of double zone. They're trying to take away the outside receivers and trying to force them to throw the ball short. And that's why they haven't gotten the ball to the outside receivers anymore. Pat Tilley hadn't caught a ball, and Roy Green has only caught one, but that was a big play.
2nd and 2 at the Cleveland 45. Two tight ends, LaFleur and Marsh. Motion by Mitchell, straight ahead Farrell, first down to the Cleveland 40-yard line. The Cardinals feel that their running game should be a good one. Now that the offensive line is intact with Louis Sharp, Carl Hairston made that tackle. You know, up front for Cleveland, with Terry Steve having retired, is a pretty good newcomer playing left guard.
Doug Dawson, number 66. I don't know whether he weighs enough, though. He's only 267.
First down for St. Louis at the Cleveland 40. Minutes left in this third quarter. And a toss to Mitchell. And another good play by the defensive man who was on the deck, Bob Golick, the nose guard, number 79, along with Hairston.
In a surprising thing, the St. Louis Cardinals are running to the open side of the formation, meaning that they're running away from the tight end instead of running to the tight end, which they usually do. They haven't had an abundance of success doing that. And we can kind of look for them to try to go back to that tight end side, I think, a little bit more frequently than they have so far.
Marsh is the tight end, and he's on the left side. O.J. Anderson is out of there. 2nd and 7. The quick outside pass to Roy Green. Out of bounds with a first down. And covered by Minifield. And Minifield's probably a little shaky about getting close to him.
Minifield was very close to the tunnel that time. That's how deep he was. He's so far back there, Jack, that he talked about intimidating Green. I don't know. He'd need a great big pole about 20 yards long.
Well, there's nobody around there.
You don't even see him in the picture. He's that deep. He had to be about 12 to 14 yards deep. And all you have to do in that situation is throw in front of him and play catch. Play catch with the quarterback and the receiver.
Going by Minifield, number 31. 10-17 left in the third quarter. St. Louis leading 7-3. This is a good drive after recovering the fumble. Toss to Mitchell. What a good burst by Mitchell to the 21.
The other thing they're doing, St. Louis is going on a quick count quite often, Jack, which makes a big difference, too. It looks like the defense is really not anchored, not set. They got a good surge that time, and that time they did run to the tight end side and also to the wingback side of the formation.
Golick and Pizzulli made the tackle. 2nd down and 4. 6 hard. You get a hot day and tired players. You put in a guy like Mitchell who has that quick takeoff. Well, he makes a difference.
Yeah, it looks like everybody else is going backwards because he's got the fresh legs.
2nd down and 4. Green to the right. Two tight ends. Motion by Anderson. Give to Farrell. Pops it clean. And then Cleveland recovered, and it's going to be 3rd and about 1 with Chris Rockins, the safety man, making the tackle. Just a little crack in that offensive line that Farrell tried to skip through. 3rd and 1.
But there again, they went straight ahead, and I think, you know, the most unimpressive play probably in football is that direct handoff. It doesn't look like anything, but after they get through, all they do is move the chains. It's always been very, very effective.
Cleveland changes personnel, and they didn't get the people off the field, and Lomax was very smart. He got the first down, but in addition, they caught Cleveland with too many men on the field. He snapped the ball quickly. I know that does your heart good because you hate to see the other team accommodate the defense.
That's right. That's exactly right. But if you're going to get caught, you better get caught with too many than not enough. It's 104 degrees on the field, Jack. A lot of hotness.
Well, let's go down there and broadcast.
It's almost as hot up here.
8:50.
With all this hot air going on up here.
8:53 left in the third quarter.
You know, one thing, the Cleveland Browns have changed their personality as far as their uniforms are concerned, Jack. They used to wear orange pants. They are not going to do that anymore.
12 men on the field. Defense. First down.
That's that Canadian defense, Jack. But they normally use orange pants. They're not going to use orange pants anymore, and they're using a tackle twill number on their jersey instead of silkscreen, and they're using a nylon Doreen jersey rather than the ones they used in the past because it's a little harder for them to grab the jerseys of the nylon Doreen. Whatever that means, I don't know, but that's what it is.
Cardinals started from their 27 after recovering the fumble. They're at the Cleveland 13. Anderson, who got the earlier touchdown, drives inside the 10 to the 8, got 5.
Well, the takeoff to the left side of the line was very efficient that time. They got a good takeoff, good surge. Watch him come off the ball. LaFleur is the tight end on this side. The tackle is sharp. Dawson is the left guard, but they got a good surge, and they pick up 5 yards on the play.
To the Cleveland 8, 2nd and 5. Chris Rockins filling in for Al Gross. The strong safety made the tackle.
You know, I think they're trying to run at Cousineau a little bit more, too, because, you know, he covers such a large area that I think probably the weakest thing he does is fight off people right at him. There's the counter play.
Here's Anderson, and the linebacker's all over. Eddie Johnson wouldn't turn him loose.
The mistake Anderson made that time, Jack, was that Louis Sharp got out in front in great shape, made a block, and instead of going inside the block of Sharp, he went to the outside, had no chance whatsoever to make the play.
The flag is down. There was a loss on the play, so Cleveland will have to figure this one out. Gary Seaman, the referee. That stops the clock with 7.5 left in the third quarter and really slows down the St. Louis drive. What happened, Jerry?
Delay of game, number 32. Offense, the down count. It'll be 3rd down.
Oh, so they lose the down on delay of game. What did he do, spike the ball? I didn't see it.
He evidently did.
Yeah, I think he spiked the ball after the play was over, and that's a delay of game penalty. O.J. Anderson. So a loss of down, and they moved the ball back to the 19-yard line. I didn't see what he did, but apparently that's what he did. Ball at the Cleveland 19. 6 defensive backs. Larry Brazil, Felix Wright check in. It's 3rd down and 15, St. Louis. From the 19, out of the shotgun, Lomax.
The double covering the outside people again. Something in the middle area inside should be efficient, should be effective. If he gets the ball off, there it is.
Incomplete. Incomplete to Mitchell. Good coverage by Johnson again, that linebacker, number 51. St. Louis will have to try a field goal. The middle was there for a bit, right?
Yes, it was. But by the time he got the ball downfield, why, it was too late, and Eddie Johnson did a terrific job of making coverage on the play.
Neil O'Donoghue missed from 45 yards earlier. The line of scrimmage is the 18. Scott Bruner will hold the ball.
I think he'd be better off to kick from the infield than he would from the grass. The grass is pretty high, Jack, and I think if he had his druthers, he would rather kick from the skin part of the infield, which is unusual.
37-yard try with Bruner holding. Let's watch his right leg, see if he follows through. Bruner did a good job of getting it down, and it is good, and St. Louis has a 7-point lead, 10-3, with 6:52 remaining in the third quarter, and both of their scores have come after Cleveland turnovers. The flag is down, and they're talking it over. Delay of game against Cleveland, so that'll be assessed. Well, here comes Lomax, wants to know what's going on. That'll be assessed on the kickoff, right,
12
Jerry?
men on the field, defense, penalty decline, field goal is good.
Oh, that's what it was.
Well, that's the
12 men on the field.
second or third time they've had too many guys in the field, Jack.
Well, they're persistent. So you see Cleveland trailing by the original 7 after 2 turnovers. There's Jim Hannafin. He's ahead by the score of 10-3, and he can't be feeling too good about what's happened here.
No, I wouldn't think so. I surely wouldn't think so. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I think Cleveland, I just think they want to go into the fourth quarter with the hope that they can still win the game. And at this stage, they're one play away from being involved in this game on a tie basis.
We'll tell you about some of the other games after the kickoff by O'Donoghue. He'll touch it off from the 35-yard line and back deep for Cleveland is Glenn Young out of Mississippi State. Close up look at O'Donoghue. And there's Glenn Young. And the Irishman kicks the ball. And it is taken by Young on the 7, 10, 20. Out near the 30-yard line. Nothing timid about that return, was it?
He made a decision and went.
And Atlanta goes ahead of Detroit 21-14. Detroit had come back to tie there in the third quarter. And Tampa Bay leading Chicago. A surprising total of points in that game. 28-24 third period. Pittsburgh walloping Indianapolis 31-3 in the third quarter. Miami's 7-point lead over Houston in the third quarter. Seattle by only 4 over Cincinnati in the fourth quarter. Cincinnati will be the next opponent for St. Louis. From their own 30-yard line. And here is Mack. Breaking tackles and getting a first down. What a good run by Kevin Mack, the rookie from Clemson who played in the United States Football League. Curtis Greer made the tackle.
Look at the takeoff here again. Look, they're going straight ahead, and he's reading the blocks on the backside of the defense. The backside of the defense, especially the right linebacker, Freddie Joe Nunn, over pursued. He cut behind the pursuit of number 53 and made a big gain in the play. But they're doing a good job of blowing him off the ball and going straight ahead.
First down at their own 43 for the Browns. Minor in motion. Back again. And he dives back to the line of scrimmage. Tackle made by Thomas Howard. You know, a while ago I mentioned Curtis Greer, number 75, the defensive end, and that was the first time I mentioned him the whole game. And he was terrific with 14 sacks last year.
Well, because see what they're doing a good job of doing what they do best, and also depriving them of doing what they do best. Talking about the defensive right end, Curtis Greer, he rushes the passer so well that they're running at him. He doesn't have a chance to do what he does best.
Second down and 10. Another shotgun and a flag. I don't think they beat the 30-second clock. That'll make it 2nd and 15. That stops the game clock, 5:17.
Prior to the snap, number 63.
That's what it was.
Offense, still second
False
down.
start. 2nd and 15. Cody Rison beat the snap count.
Cody Rison missed all of last season. A very bright, very intelligent guy that looked for him for great leadership. And I asked him whether he missed the season last year or not. And he kind of sheepishly said, well, I guess I should say that I have, but I really didn't. I was happy to be home with my daughter, who was just 3 months old, and I got a chance to get well acquainted with her.
Cleveland has 8 penalties, St. Louis 2. 2nd and 15. Somebody right in his face, and the pass incomplete. Good pass rush by St. Louis that time. Danielson gets up. Eloy's Grooms, an old buddy of yours from New Orleans, was on top of it.
Talked to Elo yesterday on the field, and he was very
And
enthusiastic.
holding against the Browns.
Very enthusiastic about the fact that this is the first time in a long time he comes into their opening game of the season healthy. He says he feels terrific, and he's back at the defensive end position. He likes that very much too. But Elo still has a lot of good football in him, and I'm sure he's going to help the Cardinals tremendously.
St. Louis could make it 3rd and 15 or 2nd and 25. And it may have been against their left tackle, Paul Farron.
Holding, number 74.
That's him.
Offense, still second down.
Let's watch it. Let's see what he did that he shouldn't have done on Curtis Greer.
Yeah, 74. Watch him on Curtis Greer. See, you got to keep the hands inside the shoulder area. He definitely is grabbing him. He's outside the plane, holding him on the play, and that's why they call the penalty.
Did he do it?
He did it. He done it. He done it.
2nd and 25 from the Browns, 27. 5 defensive backs for St. Louis, including Bobby Johnson. Here's the inside handoff, and it didn't work, and a good play by David Galloway. 3rd and long. Galloway tripped him up on that inside handoff.
The fans are booing, but what they're trying to do, Jack, as I mentioned earlier, they're just trying to stay out of a long yardage passing situation. They were hoping that time that maybe the rush would be severe. They could run inside and pick up some of that yardage. But they didn't, so now it's 3rd and 28.
Here's Bubba Baker, number 60. Galloway made the good play with the trip with the hand.
He got penetration.
Third and 28.
That kind of a play, you want the end to get penetration, but you surely don't want the tackle to get penetration.
To the sideline, and Newsome stays in bounds. And they're way short on third down, and they'll have to punt. Thomas Howard, 59, was over there on defense. We have 3:46 left in the third quarter. And Gossett is in to do the kicking. He's had a great kicking day.
Watch Gossett again.
Look at that average.
Watch Gossett again. He's a two-step kicker. Most kickers are three-step kickers. Watch him. He's just a two-stepper. He's got his left foot out. He takes a step with his right foot, left foot, and there it goes.
He will get the snap from Perrin.
And the important thing is watch the drop. Look at how level the drop is. He used
Another good kick. Fair catch way back there at the 12-yard line. And good coverage by the Browns downfield by number 47, and that is Brazil, who was down there covering. Gossett doing a whale of a job. That a 51-yard kick.
Watch the drop again. Here we get a picture of the drop. Watch it. High pass, but watch how level the ball drops. And look at the follow-through.
They're rooting for the Dogs here. That's what they call the Cleveland defensive unit. They played pretty well today. A lot of barking going on. Ball at the Cardinal 12. Farrell to the 15. The Browns have turned it over twice, and it's cost them the 10 St. Louis points. St. Louis hasn't turned it over at all, and this is when you really have to be careful down in there.
Yeah, you don't want to lay an egg down in here, and especially when you're playing a young team like the Cleveland Browns. And talking to Marty Schottenheimer yesterday, that's the one thing he indicated. He said he hoped that wouldn't happen. They turned the ball over so many times last year. I think they had 31 fumbles last year and lost about 18 or 16 of them. He was hoping that wouldn't happen today, but so far that's been a problem.
Second down and 7. Green comes left. Tilley hasn't caught a ball all day. He's to the right. Covered by Minifield.
This would be a good time to throw the ball to Pat Tilley.
Bad throw to Anderson. High and away. Third down.
Tilley was one-on-one on the left side that time on Minifield, and I thought perhaps Lomax would recognize that and try to get the ball to him because he had a good situation. And Minifield is very, very concerned about getting licked deep, and he's playing very soft, meaning he's playing deep, and you should be able to throw in front of him.
2:09 left in the third quarter. St. Louis on top 10-3. Third down and 7. 6 defensive backs for the Browns, including Felix Wright, Harry Brazil, Sam Clancy is in there on the line.
And Dixon is playing green, man for man on the slot side. There he goes.
4-man rush.
Oh, boy.
Outside to Tilley, double coverage, incomplete.
He had green on Dixon, but he never looked at him at all. He had a